Welcome to the Dopamine Fix Cinema channel. Y'all, I didn't have anyone to go with, but I went to see Superman and it was so good. I really felt like I was watching an action comic brought to life. The pacing was energetic and nearly consistently going throughout the entire film. If you are here only for my rating and don't want to be spoiled, I don't want to waste your time, so I'm giving this 9 stars out of 10. So I've heard complaints that this isn't an origin story, and you know what? It's 2025. If you're an adult and you don't know the story of Superman, this just may not be the film for you. I mean, hands down, James Gunn delivers another excellent comic book film. No time wasted explaining the world to noobs. Go watch a cartoon on HBO Max if you don't know the deal yet, cause we're off and going from Jump Street, you know what I mean? So one of the highlights of this film is probably a negative for Superman himself. This dude is not a trained fighter or tactician, though he's great at being an overall leader and instilling people with hope. With regards to actually fighting, Superman's more of a brawler, relying on his abilities to win his fights. Comic book readers, let me know in the comments if Superman has any formal training in any actual martial arts. Anyways, this allows Luthor to develop fight combos to instruct Ultraman to use against Superman, and it works tremendously, as you might have seen from the trailers that Superman gets his butt whooped in this film. So, I'm not even going to hold you. David Cornsweet might be the best Clark Kent Superman complete package. His Clark Kent is fun and seems like an actual 20-something in a workplace. Don't get me wrong, Christopher Reeves was an awesome Superman, and he is the bar that I hold all others against. But I do feel like Christopher Reeves was a better Superman compared to Clark Kent. His Clark Kent was more of a mask that he wore, portraying Clark as a bumbling wimp, while David Cornsweet gives a more realistic and average Joe take on Clark Kent, and a Superman who isn't perfect, but is always trying his best to be better. Henry Cavill gave a great Superman. I really enjoyed Man of Steel. Watching Cavill fly gave me goosebumps and really captured the awe and sense of speed. All of his action scenes felt really intense and powerful. His Clark Kent was good too, but what really stood out was Cavill as Superman. Brandon Routh, he was fine, and carrying on from the exact same story from Christopher Reeves might have been a mistake, instead of allowing him to be his own Superman. Also, Superman without someone to actually swing a fist at is kind of a boring story. But that's not Ralph's fault. He did give a good Superman, it's just he couldn't really do much of putting himself into the role, maybe. So, all of the TV show Superman actors are cool, but they obviously made better Clark Kents than Superman, mostly due to budget constraints. Except for Tyler, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Hoechlin? I'm sorry, dude. Tyler H. from the Superman and Lois TV show. This guy, he might be the second best Superman and Clark Kent package altogether. Great show if you haven't watched it yet on HBO Max. They pretty much hit all the major Superman comic book story beats. Regardless, James Gunn excels at ensemble stories, and Superman really stands out when you can compare him to other heroes and villains. I've heard some complaints that Superman should have been the only hero in the film. Nah, my guy. Every other Superman film was just Superman, and I enjoyed watching how he would handle a situation versus other heroes, in this case, the Justice Gang. The Green Lantern, Guy Gardner, is perfectly obnoxious and fun. Watching him and his constructs was a blast. He looks like his comic book character, even though wearing the Max Lord suits throws things off for Green Lantern and Hawkgirl. Speaking of Hawkgirl, aka Kendra Saunders, who is Hispanic in the comics, it seems some of y'all have her confused with Hawkwoman, whom is the redhead from the cartoons. Hawkgirl is great though, and perfectly violent. I like that she's willing to kill where other heroes are not. Much like Wonder Woman, Hawkgirl is a warrior first and is willing to do what needs to be done. Next, we had Mr. Terrific. He's awesome, very arrogant and overly intelligent to the point of making himself an outcast, which is nice to see, as I wouldn't want all the heroes that had the same personality. He does steal all the scenes he is in, so maybe that will get people to go out and buy the comics. I've been hearing folks say that he should get his own solo film. Nothing against the actor or the character, but I don't need a solo film. I guess with the right story, it would be cool, but what we got was enough for now. James Gunn should stay away from directly spinning off all these characters. Let the script guide the path DC takes with these films. Superman fights this massive kaiju, and the Justice Game comes in to help while Superman is saving people from falling debris. And while Superman is distracted, the Justice Gang end up killing the kaiju, much to Superman's dismay. Now, I love this interaction because Superman really wanted to help the people in danger as well as the kaiju. This is the exact kind of interaction I like, as it shows Superman's humanity, while the actual human heroes are far more careless. The Justice Gang only cared about stopping a kaiju at any cost, while Superman hopes to calm it down and take it somewhere it would be safe at. So there's a scene where we learn that Superman stopped a military battle from unfolding between Boravia invading its neighboring country, Jahanapur. The American government and Boravia are both mad that Superman is interfering in geopolitical matters, and this paints the truest form of Superman. He's going to save lives. It doesn't matter if it's from a volcano, an interdimensional imp, an armed robber, or trigger-happy military. So let's get to the Ultraman of it all. It is revealed that he's a clone of Superman, but is an imperfect clone and thus not as intelligent but follows orders well enough. This explains why Superman is repeatedly getting his butt handed to him. In the final moments of their battle, Superman does win by outsmarting the clone, whom is promptly sucked into the black hole inside of this pocket universe. This pocket universe is designed with cubes everywhere. Those of you familiar with the Superman comics will know that Bizarro's version of Earth is not round and is in effect a cube as well. So there's your setup for bringing Bizarro one day if they want to, but absolutely no need to follow any loose strings attached. You see, the thing is, there are setups for lots of things in this film, and I feel like it would be wise for James Gunn and Warner Brothers to not try to follow up on any of them directly. It's enough that we know that it happened and can happen again one day. If the story is there for a solo film of any of these other heroes, fine, I guess, but don't follow the Marvel path of making everything interconnected. Yes, this is all one universe, but we don't need the whole watch film A and then TV show B before film C comes out, or else you'll be lost. Also, I don't buy that the people paying to go to the theaters or watch these comic book films also don't read the books or watch YouTube videos or cartoons about these characters. The people paying to go to the theaters are already fans and know the general history of the characters, or are just being dragged along by friends and don't care about any of the characters' backstories anyways. So we don't always have to have origin stories, hand-holding, and explaining everything to the crowd. So, Luthor's pretty cool in this film. With a spot-on depiction from the comics, he hates Superman and will go to comical lengths to try and defeat him. For all of his intellect, when it comes to Superman, he gets in his own way. I think we may have the best film version of Luthor, and certainly on par with the excellent Smallville Lex Luthor depiction. The engineer hacks into the Fortress of Solitude's computer systems and deciphers a message the parents left behind for Superman. Now, some made a big deal out of this, but logically, I didn't really see a problem with it. His parents want him to have many kids, that way some part of Krypton can continue and not be the end of their species. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. This happens in the real world as well. Parents love telling their kids to grow up and date someone in the community and to help keep their culture thriving. Not to mention, we've actually seen this multiple times in various Superman properties, from Man of Steel, because that was like the codex thing General Zod was trying to get so that they could repopulate their species on Earth. I'm pretty sure in the Superman and Lois TV show with Tyler H., they had something similar happen there as well, and a bunch of Kryptons began hijacking the bodies of random Smallville citizens, imbuing them with genetic code of Kryptonians from the past, as well as their brain patterns, which is like a whole other level of assault that turns out is really brave for that show to be taken on. Lois Lane was excellent. This actor showed up and did what needed to be done. All her scenes embodied exactly what I think of when I see Lois Lane. She's strong, independently successful, competent, and crazy in love with Superman. She goes out of her way to work with Mr. Terrific and help save Superman even. As to be expected, she is our inside look at the world with her interview with Clark Kent. She is able to break his cool composure in ways he was not prepared for. And it's this interview that reveals just how human the Kryptonian really is. Superman wants to save lives no matter where they are and no matter the danger that's posed to them. Jimmy Olsen was funnily likable. When I say funny, it's because even in the comics, Jimmy Olsen has dated his fair share of women, including Supergirl. However, in live action, he's never really shown that way, except during that Supergirl CW TV show. I like that Jimmy is just your regular guy and not some hunk embodying all the elements of what today's society considers a ladies' man. Jimmy's connection with Tessmacher is also great. Like, it's a fun twist that she's really into him. And I'm not a feet person, but he claims she has mutated toes. Is it just me, or did y'all also want to see what the heck was going on with her feet? Like, does she have ballerinas dancer feet or something? Metamorpho was a great addition to bring into the film and looks amazing with his practical effects. I like that he was a critical element to the story as the only source of kryptonite, being used to keep Superman prisoner in exchange for Luthor not hurting Metamorpho's son. I'm not familiar with the Metamorpho character, so it was a treat to see his use of powers and his character. With Metamorpho's son at risk, he still chose to do what's right and help Superman. This is another example of the type of hope that Superman inspires in people. Later, it's revealed that the Justice Gang could have also gone with Superman to help save the civilians in danger in the war zone between the two countries, but chose to stay out of the geopolitical events as they are employed by Max Lord. When the time comes again for the war to start up, Superman is busy fighting Ultraman and trying to save Metropolis from Luthor's shenanigans, and it's up to the Justice Gang now, inspired by Superman as well, to save the civilians, and they do so in epic fashion, my guy. We also get a fun moment where the Justice Gang is fighting what Superman tells Lois is an interdimensional imp. I'm not going to attempt to say that character's name, but if you know, you know. I've never seen this interdimensional imp look the way he does in this film, but the colors are right, and I think Gunn might have chose this look, maybe, just maybe, as a fun little wink to Fox's Fantastic Four Galacticus appearance being wildly off as well. There's really no in-between about it. This is the best Superman film, period. One of the talking points of the film, and with naysayers talking about the film, is about how Superman shouldn't engage in political affairs. And I swear it's like people have never watched a Superman film or read any of his comics. Some of Superman's earliest comic book adventures is fighting literal Nazis, which is really just a militarized religious extremist group. It doesn't get more geopolitical than a Jewish creator making a character called Superman that fights Nazis. Also, I watched every Superman film growing up, and I'm almost certain back in the 80s, I think it was Superman 4 maybe, Christopher Reeve's Superman tries to end the conflict between USA and the Soviet Union by throwing nuclear weapons into the sun. I'm probably getting some of this wrong since it's been decades, but inside one of those weapons was like clone elements of Superman that Luthor created, and the clone comes back to Earth and operates at Luthor's command. So I think Gunn was paying homage to what's came before with this script, which is really cool of Gunn. So where do I think Superman films should go next? I would love another action-packed Superman film, and I think going the typical route of bigger threats and bigger set pieces might be the wrong take though. Give us a mix of heroes Superman can interact with again. Some could be the same, but it will also be fun to see some new faces as well. Great villains for Superman could include Metallo or Parasite as like mid-level villains, and then the real big bad could be someone like Brainiac. But instead of trying to like dominate Earth, he could be trying to shrink Metropolis. In the process of trying to save Metropolis, Superman can find out about Kandor and has to decide which city he should restore to its appropriate size. Obviously, it would end up being Metropolis, and we would have to live with guarding Kandor in the Fortress of Solitude, and dealing with Supergirl's feelings regarding all of this, being that Kandor is her hometown on Krypton. And Brainiac is also a very familiar character that has appeared in many cartoons and hasn't appeared in any of the live-action films yet. Speaking of Supergirl, we also get a cameo of Supergirl, which does set her up for what I believe is the next DC film that comes out in 2026, and so far appears to be the comic book accurate depiction of exactly who we're looking for in Supergirl. Despite the online criticism of having her cameo in Superman, I'm down to see how well they do with the character. Watching her and Crypto interact is funny and silly, and for those that didn't know, the cute and rowdy dog Superman had been watching actually did belong to Supergirl. And tune in for more Dopamine Fix Cinema.